Well, hey guys, how we doing out there? There you are. Hello. Okay, I see some levels spiking, so I know that you're hearing me. Hi everybody. This is KJ with Rig Reality Radio. Welcome back once again. I really appreciate you all joining us once again for Rig Reality Radio, your alternative to the alternative media. Hey guys, I got to make a few just announcements here. So most of you probably come around here to the show from knowing me from my YouTube channel, The Scariest Movie Ever. So I've been around for several years on that, and of course I've started a backup called KJ Ozborne, which of course is my name. That's my secondary channel. Now for the last month it's been really crazy. I've been very busy with some life things. I've been pulled away. I'm still maintaining a lot of videos over at KJ Ozborne. I pulled back on my main channel right now, mainly because I'm focusing on building up my secondary, and it seems to be working really well. So for the next month, if you're not subbed there yet, sub to KJ, those are capitals, space Osborne, Ozborne. You're going to get a lot of videos there. I'm working on 3 huge, I would call them mini documentaries from my main channel, The Scariest Movie Ever. And until then, those will be up within the week, at least one will, okay? Now, outside of all of that, guys, as far as a radio show goes, I had a great show last week, and I have not been able to upload it. Really sucks. I was out of town about 3 days this week. When I came back, I had a bunch of editing issues with my last show. Had some music playing in the background lowly on the second half of the show, and it keeps hitting me on copyright with YouTube. And if any of you have a YouTube channel, you can't mess with that. You got to stay away from that. So I finally got it worked out. So over the next few days, you're going to have this show uploaded to The Scariest Movie Ever, last week's show, and you're going to have a new big video coming, and still, like I said, plenty on KG Osborne. Now, enough about me. Tonight's show, awesome, very excited. Got Brandon back from last week, okay? Now, I'm sorry, not Brandon. I got Zachary Hubbard back from last week. I called him Brandon because I had one of my best friends in school many years ago was named Brandon Zachary. And for some reason, when I first got into Zachary Hubbard's work, I was always kind of associating him with Brandon. They even look alike, actually. But I had Zachary Hubbard on last week, who is very connected with the language of numbers, with numerology, with gematria, or whatever we want to call it, but he's connected with this. As soon as I started talking to Zachary last week, I knew that he needed to meet Casey from Into the Stars, who is one of my friends here on YouTube and also somebody I greatly admire. He's been on the show several times. So, we're lucky tonight, guys, to have them both on with us. I wanted them to meet each other. I saw them just kind of corresponding earlier today, and we're going to run with it. As long as Zachary can stay with us, we're going to keep him, but when he's got to go, we're going to stay, me and Casey, till the end. Guys, welcome once again. Zachary, thank you for coming back. Casey from Into the Stars, thank you. Guys, welcome to the show. How have you been?
Doing well, thank you.
Excellent. Casey, you're staying busy. Guys, I just want to sit back now. I'm talking a lot. I want y'all to talk a little bit. Man, have you guys had a chance to chat? And I want to see if you're realizing that your gifts, I would say, through the Spirit, through the Holy Spirit, are very connected. Go ahead, guys. What's going on with you guys?
Do you want to start, Zachary?
I'll let Casey start.
Okay, well, I'm really glad to be on here with Zachary. This is an amazing opportunity, and to talk to someone who really understands these numbers. I came upon gematria kind of by accident. As I was led by the Holy Spirit to kind of uncover some of the truths that we've uncovered on our channel, I've been able to slowly understand that we live in a very mathematical reality. And so what that's done is it's forced me to look at the numbers. Okay, I'm not a mathematician. I'm not someone that really specializes in this stuff. So, the way the Holy Spirit works is it kind of moves with currents, and it pulls people together, pulls other people apart, and we slowly evolve. And through the collective consciousness on the channel, everyone getting together, 14,000 minds working together to uncover the truth, we've gotten to a certain point. But then other people come on board, and we start to understand things that we couldn't understand before. So I'm really glad to meet Zachary and be able to talk to him today.
Excellent. That's cool. And Zachary, y'all had a chance to talk a little bit earlier. Do you kind of see why I wanted you and Casey to get to know each other?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What is it? Can you just kind of talk about that a little bit, about what your connection is when you guys started talking? And then I'd love for you guys to just kind of go into whatever you'd like to go into as far as, I guess it'd help to have some topics. We can even look at anything, Ebola, how everything connects with numbers, whatever. But just first and foremost, go ahead.
Sure. So this is Zach speaking, the numbers guru, as I've been dubbed. Let me take you back in time, not that long ago, just part of my development as a human being. When I moved to Seattle, I had a coworker who really wanted me to learn about astrology. And at this point in my life, I didn't really know anything about astrology other than horoscopes in the paper. And I was a little bit hesitant at first, just because it was, I guess, the same reason people reject information they're not new to or keep it away. It wasn't something I'd ever thought about, so I wasn't that interested in it. But once this woman, this coworker that wanted me to look at it, put it in front of my face, what she did was she printed out a stack of papers that had to do with my significant birthday. As I read through it, I became more and more fascinated. And then I started talking about it with friends, and pretty soon I realized there really was something to astrology. And as I studied astrology, I learned of numerology too. I'd probably not even know about numerology if it wasn't for astrology. So I see how these two things are directly connected. And last year, what was it, last summer, I think it was the end of last August, there was the chemical weapons attack in Damascus, you might recall, and that occurred on the night of a blue moon. And I'd already seen this strange pattern with astrology and world events and numerology. And that event right there just, because I think it's mentioned in Revelation about what will happen in Damascus to signal the end times.
It'll be in ruins, yeah, absolutely. I've been keeping my eye on Damascus for a year. There's a lot going on there,
Yes. So essentially what I'm saying is I've seen how numerology and astrology are connected, and in the time I've been doing my research, I've come to understand the numerology, gematria side really well, and I've surpassed my astrology understanding. So that's where I see someone like Casey. I know that if him and I could link minds and I could share with him what I know, I think we'd put a lot together, and it would just be synergy. Because I think there's a major connection there.
I know you would, and I want to ask this with Casey too, and that's something I really appreciate about you, Zachary, and Casey, I believe, is that you're not afraid to focus on the astrological side of this, because I'm pretty deep into that as well. Not, I don't look at my daily horoscope and stuff like this. I think it's one of those things that's a real truth that was given to us a long time ago, but it's been perverted and taken and hidden by the so-called elite, or the Illuminati, whatever we want to call them, and used for nefarious purposes. But I am fully involved. I am a Pisces 100%. I am March 1st is my birthday, and I literally have a birthmark on the side of my body of a fish. It looks exactly like the fish. It's crazy. And I've noticed, even as a kid, people used to joke around about that. It's so obvious. It's not even, it's right there. So I've always had some weird connection with that as well. I read a book called The Book of Birthdays. I was dating a young lady back in Maui, Hawaii, when I lived out there, and she was a bit of a hippie. Met her at a nude beach, and no, I was not nude, but I was always a bit bohemian, even when I was in the military, I guess. So I met her there, and she had this book called The Book of Birthdays, and it was probably 6 inches thick. It was huge. It was very distinct about the day you were born, and when I read that, it sent shivers down my spine. It was so accurate. So that was the day I realized there was some accuracy to that. Casey, what's your connection, if any, to astrology?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, KJ, because, before all the Christians turn this station off, we need to address this. The word Mazzaroth is actually mentioned one time in the Bible, and the only translation that anyone's been able to get from it is that it means constellations. And there is a reason for that, and that is because when God's talking to Job, he talks about, who is the person who set Orion's belt in the stars? Who's the person who created the Mazzaroth? And this is in the book of Job. And a lot of people want to deny this. And in all honesty, I have to, admit to you guys and tell you that God wants us to look at the stars as signs. Now, should we make predictions from them? No. Should we, live our lives by them and, change everything in our life? No. But they are there as signs. It's in the Lord's Prayer. As it is on earth, it will be in heaven. and that is the as above, so below. Now, what we need to understand is everything is based on intent. So, the people that know the secret knowledge, the people that understand these numbers, that are secretly implementing them into our public consciousness, into the media, into the movies, into the music, which is everything that we uncover, KJ and Zachary, on our channels. This is everything that we uncover. We're showing the hidden knowledge. So now it's proven. The hidden knowledge is there. It's there in our consciousness. Now we have to ask why. Why are they hiding this stuff in our consciousness? That is now the question. And this is where it comes down to intent. People like us trying to expose it, try to uncover it, try to figure out why it's there. But then the people who created it, the Hollywood, putting it in there, hiding it, subliminally in a subversive fashion, that is the concern. And under the guise of immorality, sexuality, all these things that they hide it under. And then it comes into our consciousness. That is the question.
And it's there's just so much to it. There's so much truth there, man. I mean, I have literally always been kind of attracted to the type of person I'm supposed to be attracted to, and that was even before I understood all that stuff. Like what love astrology was or whatever. But when I finally encountered it as an adult, I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly the way I've always been. I've always liked that type of person. When I started looking back at ex-girlfriends and times they were born, I was like, wow, it all lined up. So there's something there, man. Zachary, what do you think about all this stuff?
Yeah, everything he said I 100% agree with. I'll just add in an interesting note. You just said you're a Pisces. It fits right in with my study. The symbol of the fish that we see so often on the back of the cars is often referred to as the Ictus or the Pisces. In Gematria, both the word Ictus and the word Pisces sum to 26. 26 is very significant because it's called the God number in Gematria. The English alphabet is completely based on this Gematria. It's 26 letters long, the alphabet. The word God is spelled G-O-D. That's 7 plus 15 plus 4. It sums to 26. There's two proper ways to decode the words. I just showed you one. The other way is you decrease each letter to a single digit before you sum it. So G's the 7th letter, it stays that way. O's the 15th letter. So instead of summing 15, you make it 1 plus 5 equals 6. So O becomes 6. And D's the 4th letter. So it becomes 7 plus 6 plus 4. The smaller way, it sums to 17. So these two sums for God are 26 and 17. This is significant in mathematics because if you add 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to 17, it sums to the number 153, and it's John 21, where 153 fish are mentioned. If you sum the numbers 1 through 26, it creates the number 351. So imagine 153 and 351. Those numbers are a reflection of each other. Can you see that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so the other name for that shape, the Ictus and Pisces, in Christianity it's referred to as the mandorla. And the gematria of the word mandorla is 33. When you see that symbol on the back of the cars, it's either hollow with nothing on the inside, or it commonly has IXOYE. If you sum those letters in gematria, it sums to 33. You'll also often see it with Darwin on the inside. Darwin in gematria sums to 33. Darwin has a life number. That means he was born on a date with a numerology of 33, and he also died on a date with a numerology of 33. That's the exact same as Albert Einstein, who was brought to the United States from Germany in 33. There's way more on that, but I don't want to get too off topic.
No, I love it, man. Also, just kind of on a side note, I love Albert Einstein. He's definitely one of my heroes. Big fan of his, but just because I love philosophers. To me, he wasn't a scientist as much as he was a philosopher. But Casey, and that's the thing about you guys, man. Zachary, you've connected with 33, and Casey is connected with 88, like in a huge way, guys.
Well, 88 is super important. 88's part of this 33 thing.
Yeah. Well, and here's... Go ahead, Zachary.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, here's the thing, and this is how we know that the numbers aren't inherently evil. No number is really inherently evil. It's what the intent is of it. And the example that I always give people is I was born on March 29th. That's the 88th day of the year. Now, we pretty much have determined that 88 is in fact being pushed on us. I mean, the Queen of England turned 88 this year. We saw many celebrities dying at age 88 in 2014. We're seeing 88 in the movies, the music.
Did you see 88 in Godzilla, by the way?
Oh, sure. And so, okay, not only does that ship that it's on sums to 33 in that scene, also I was going to mention the name Elizabeth sums to 88. The name George Washington sums to 88. The name Uncle Sam sums to 88. Both the states California and Maryland, they're the only two states with a gematria of 88. The word program equals 88. The word poison equals 88. The word maleficent equals 88. And several more.
Oh my gosh. Casey, go ahead, man. That's amazing. Go ahead, Casey.
Well, it's amazing. So what happens is we start to develop an understanding of this secret knowledge. And that is the exciting part to me, that we're actually able to decode this. I mean, an entire year ago, we were talking about the number 88. And in the beginning, I have to admit, people thought we were crazy. They're like, dude, you're just seeing stuff. And then the deaths started happening, the celebrity deaths, and the headlines started rolling in with Obama appropriating 88 million, and there were 88 soldiers and 88 in the score in the game, and everyone started to see that it was in fact happening. So what does this all mean? Well, we had just foreshadowed the world Ebola outbreak. Anyone can pull up a Google image search of Ebola, and what do you see? It's shaped like an 88. That was it all along. And had we not been foreshadowing this and bringing attention to it, guess what? The dark side wins. Ignorance is sin, because we choose not to seek truth when the truth is right before us. And, you know, we had the Ebola outbreak with the 88 shape. We also had time references, okay? So we had the number 88 showing up in all these time-based films. Back to the Future, you have to hit 88 miles an hour to jump to a different time in history. And then that linked to the date November 5th. And then we had Anonymous, remember the 5th of November. Well, guess what? The November 5th date shows up in 3 movies, 3 years apart, and each movie was about time travel. It showed up also in Fire in the Sky. That was the date the man was abducted. It showed up in
Travis Walton, huh? I almost
Yes.
had him I was a guest. Interesting.
Wow, really? And
Yeah.
then it also showed up in Back to the Future. That was the date that he had to go back to in Back to the Future. It showed up in another movie, Time Rider, 3 years earlier, and in another time travel movie. So once we get to these points of synchronicity, we have to wonder, okay, what are they trying to tell us? CERN, okay? CERN is shaped like a figure 8. We also have Fermilab, which is shaped like a figure 8. It is a particle accelerator on the 88th meridian, which is where Chicago is. That's on
Casey,
the 88th.
I want to ask Zachary also, just on that. I'm sorry to interject, but I have to know. I'm very curious. Zachary, have you found any connections to CERN in your research? Because I think CERN's very important. Are you finding anything there yourself?
So I haven't done much research on it, but see, I like when people ask me those questions, because tonight I'll look into it, and the next time you talk to me, I'll probably have a million things to tell you about. Because that's the thing about this research. I've gotten really good at it, and it doesn't take me long to put stuff. I just want to echo on his 88 with Ebola. The new Ebola czar is named Ron Klain. Both the name Ron sums to 47 and the name Klain in this gematria, 33, 47, 74 are super important numbers. His birthday is August 8th, 8/8, 1961. Add 8 plus 8 plus 1 plus 9 plus 6 plus 1. He has a life number of 33. The other way to get a numerology from that date is just the way you would write it, 8/8/61. If you add it that way, it sums to 77, like the phrase Knights of Templar. So like I was just telling Casey, 88, 33, all this master numerology is part of the same thing. The 88's coded everywhere, but if you learn to look at it in a more holistic picture, you'll also see all the numbers that are right around it. For a while, my tunnel vision was just on 33, so I missed everything else around it. But once you see the bigger, it's just like consciousness, once you're aware, you see everything else around. So he's on the path. He's just not seeing all the other numbers that are right next to 88 all the time.
Casey, have you seen any 33s? Has that ever been something that's kind of fallen into your research?
Yes, the 33s are pretty prevalent as well. I think we each have a certain gifting, and so we kind of, go towards that in our understanding. But the one thing that I can tell you is that the common denominator between all these double and triple digits is 1 or 11. And 11 is divisible by all of these, or it divides all of these other numbers. And in one video, I talk about how I believe that this is the number of Christ.
Really? The name Jesus sums to 74, but it's not supposed to be. See, you're right that it is the number of Christ, but it should not. The word Christ also sums to 77.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so the 11...
Do you mind me asking what your spirituality is?
Mine?
Yeah.
I'm kind of on KJ's wavelength. I do not claim to be religious. I believe that this is a free will universe, and that if we have love in our heart, we'll stray toward the light side. But if we have hate and evil in our heart, we stray toward the dark side. And I believe that there will be an actual weighing of your heart, and that will determine whether or not you go into the next level, the higher levels of eternity. That's my belief system.
That's good stuff. Yeah, I agree. And you know me. And I would throw in just, of course, the belief, not a traditional, but a belief in it's very important to read your Bible on your own and ask for the understanding personally, because it's a spiritual book, to follow Jesus Christ as an example and to have a relationship with God the Creator, because there's other gods, I believe, but God the Creator. That's personally me. I think Casey's about the same way. Well, go ahead, Zachary.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this gematria, it's been super helpful to me because it's confirmed a lot of things that I've thought were true throughout my life, but that most people have told me I was wrong about, or thinking crazy, or off my rocker. I've always thought that all the religions of the world, or I shouldn't say all, but the ones that people mostly practice are probably all really rooted in the same thing, and over time we've slowly been divided the same way nations are divided. So we're arguing over nonsensical stuff. Well, check this out. In this gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, which dates back to the time that many of these religious scriptures were written, this number 74 is super important. The word gematria equals 74. The word English equals 74. The word Jesus equals 74. The word Yeshua, the official spelling, equals 74. The word cross equals 74. The word Messiah, 74. Pinnacle, 74. If you flip 74 around, the word Christian equals 47. What's interesting is that if you go to the Quran and you go to book 47, it's all about Muhammad, and as you read it, it reads pretty much like something straight out of Christianity. The spelling of Muhammad also sums to 74. So here in the Quran, you have this pairing of 47 and 74 for quite possibly the most important part of the book. And then in Christianity, these are the numbers that are central through the entire book. Also, as I said, the word Jewish is 74. You think about this nation's birthday, it's July 4th, 1776. If you want to break down that whole date, I just told you the 7-part piece. Now let's look at the 1776 piece. If you take 17, the word Mason sums to 17, as does the word God and Zeus with the smaller gematria. The number 76 sums to the singular Knight of Templar. If you look up to Canada, their flag is equally as coded, and it was established 1867, the reverse of that 7 and 6. The point is these numbers, when I really think about it deeply, I realize, okay, they're coded all throughout the religions, and the religions are divided. They seem to be coded throughout many of the world's nations. The nations are divided. So it tells me, what this points to me, is that the people who are responsible for this know what the picture is, and it just shows you what they've been working at, divide and conquer. And that is one of the rules of Freemasonry: order through chaos and divide and conquer.
Casey, what do you think about that?
I think he's absolutely right. And the only solution to the equation is the number 11, which cuts all those numbers in half and divides them. 1776 divided by 2 is 888. A lot of people don't understand that the founding date of this country, the United States of America, divided by 2 is 888. Now, there's some debate, and I'm glad you brought this up, about Jesus' name. And of course, we understand that Jesus Christ is the Greek name given to Jesus. It's the Greek translation. So it's just like me calling Zachary Brad. That's not his name.
But like I just said, the official spelling Yeshua sums to 74. The English translation Joshua also sums to 74. There's multiple spellings of his name that sum to 74.
As well as Jesus Christ, or not?
Christ sums to 77.
Okay, so there's a difference there. So that's important because we need to understand it. Now, here's the thing. God knows our heart. Jesus knows our heart. So whatever we call him, he's going by our heart. What the words that come out of our mouth don't really mean as much as our heart, right? So
yeah,
that's
right.
why
I hope so.
Yeah. So I try not to get too hung up on what his actual name is, because in the end, he says everyone will know his name. And there's a reason why he says that, because we don't know it now, or many of us don't know it now. Some of us do, some of us don't. So I always get a little hesitant to assign numerical names to Jesus. I believe also we have to look at exactly what's going on with the deception. Of course, Satan's there, the dark side's there to try to deceive us. And, he'll do anything he can to attach certain things to Jesus that might not necessarily be true. Now, I don't know the absolute truth on this. I'm still looking at it. But, we got to look at all of it. But I don't like to hang my hat on certain things when it comes to Jesus' name.
I'm glad you said that. I think that's important for all of us, and I think that people forget that. People that watch Zachary's channel, your channel, my channel, and they see that we're really revealing some pretty heavy things sometimes. Maybe they think that we know it all, and we certainly don't. Like, I always look at myself as a piece of clay. I'm still being molded. There's still levels of my walk with Christ and connection with God the Father that I've got to strengthen, man, and I see it on the horizon, but it's coming, so go ahead, Zachary.
Oh,
I just threw that at you, didn't I?
Right there. I'm just listening. I got into spectator mode.
No, you're cool, man. Sorry, I just wanted to kind of give you guys equal time. In fact, we're at almost half an hour. How much time we have with you tonight?
I can stay on right now because I had just let somebody know through a text message behind the scenes that I'll be there around 6. So I'll hang in there and continue the chat. I'm enjoying it.
Fair enough. Let's party, man. And that's something that Casey and I haven't talked about in a while. You and I did. We keep going back to the 11s. I know last week you and I talked about the 111, and I have proof of that for myself. I've got a video I put up about 2.5 years ago on the channel where I see 111 consistently, and I'm not sure, it's not just me, it's a lot of us. So what do you guys think about this one, Zachary, and whatever else you want to add in? Go ahead.
Oh, sure. The nation we live in is so coated with numbers. The 11th state is New York. The name New in Gematria sums to 42, the meaning of life number. Other 3-letter words with the meaning of life number 42 are war, sin, and gun, all sum to 42. So does GPS. So does sub, as in below. The name York sums to 69. When you add 42 plus 69, you get 111. It gets more interesting. The first governors of New York were the Clintons. Their name was Clinton, and New York was established as New Amsterdam on February 2nd, the 33rd day of the year. Clinton is a name with the 33 gematria. The president, the 42nd president that we had, William Jefferson Clinton, was not born William Jefferson Clinton. He was born William Jefferson Blythe. His father was murdered on a business trip coming back from Chicago to Arkansas. It should be noted that Chicago's divided into 77 neighborhoods. Again, the phrase Knights of Templar equals 77.
Wow, interesting. So I know Chicago's huge for sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, the date he died is May 17th, 1946. If you add the numerology of that date, it sums to 33. He is said to have died in 3 feet of water on the side of the road. That's the police report. No murder charges, no investigation. What I think happened, by the way, the word police sums to 33. I think the police are ran and controlled by the Freemasons. And I think there's no authority.
Yeah.
What I speculate happened to Bill Clinton's father is that he was murdered, and the police wrote a report that he drowned in 3 feet of water, and that was the end of it. The point I'm getting to is he took on this name Clinton that sums to 33, and his whole name, William Jefferson Clinton, sums to 111 in gematria, just like New York, where the name Clinton originally traces back to.
Wow.
So you can see in studying this is how the system's working. I think Bill Clinton, I think all the presidents we get are essentially Manchurian candidates, but I imagine that Bill Clinton to be the president, or at least to be in the consideration for something like that from birth. And I speculate that his father's assassination might even have had to have done that. If you look at world leaders all throughout the world, a lot of them lose their fathers at a really young age, including Barack Obama, who lost his father when he was in his 20s.
Oh my gosh, you're hitting on something I'm hot on right now. The next big video I do for my main channel has to do with one of my favorite books called Thanks for the Memories by Bryce Taylor, and she was a created mind control sex slave for politicians and also for movie stars. I know it sounds crazy. This book was written years ago, but I'm right there with you, man. That's very interesting. We've all seen, I imagine you've seen, or have you, the video of Clinton getting ready for some kind of a national announcement or something. I'm not sure what it was, but they were putting makeup on him, and he was seriously acting like a zombie. Like, are we going to do this tonight? I mean, just really weird. Have you seen that one or no?
Oh, sure. And I know you don't watch Michael Moore movies because Michael Moore at the beginning of his Fahrenheit 9/11 has like you can think of at that time going through the same thing. So yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Interesting. I didn't know he covered that, but that's really cool. I mean, I've always been weird with him just because, I cut loose I used to be really heavy into the far-right paradigm. I mean, I'm ex-military, man. I was active duty 8 years, so, I was kind of into that, and I was even approached even back then by a Mason who was in the military. I had no idea what that stuff was about, but I was big into Fox News. So for many years, I wouldn't watch anything from Michael Moore. Since then, I've watched everything he's done, and what I've learned is what I've learned now at my age in life, is that it's not black and white, everything is gray. You can find truth in all kinds of places. You just have to keep an open mind and use your discernment, yes?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I agree.
Casey, we've left you out in the cold for a little bit. What you thinking over there?
No, you guys are rocking over there. This is good conversation. Yeah, I believe that, in fact, what happens is that it goes back to intent. And I know I keep repeating this, but it in fact does. And people can often try to attach negativity to something that we might show, a video that we might show of this or that. But guess what? It's not about some of the untruths. It's about the truth that you can glean from whatever you have, okay? And there's truth in everything. The devil will tell you 80% of the lie, or 80% of the truth to tell you 20% of the lie. This is what he's good at, even all the way back to the Garden of Eden when he lied to Eve. Part of what he was saying was the truth, but then he deceived her through that. So, again, this goes back to intent. And I'm glad you brought up Barack Obama, because this is very important. We've had some major discoveries here about the birthplace of Barack Obama. Now, Barack Obama was at a dinner, and he talked about that he was born, that his mother was born in Kansas, his father was in Kenya. And then he says, of course, I was born in Hawaii, and he winks his eye. Well, that was a very cryptic statement that he made, because there is, in fact, a place called Hawaii, Kenya. Now, this is not a breaking story. This story broke, I think, probably a year ago, that there was, in fact, a Hawaii, Kenya. But in digging deeper, what we found was that Hawaii, Kenya was at the mouth of the Hell's Gate National Forest in Kenya, Africa. And that this, in fact, this national forest or national park was the place where the Lion King film was birthed from. And that film began its conception in 1988. And, of course, Obama resides in Chicago on the 88th meridian. Now, he's also the 44th president, which is half of 88. But what they don't tell you is that the Lion King is 88 minutes long. And also what we found is that on the day Barack Obama was born, in Kenya, at that exact location, we see Mercury on the horizon. And we see the cub, and we see the lion. We see Mufasa, and we see Simba. And Simba is pointing to Mercury, which has an 88-day orbit around the sun. So
I love it.
it's all
I
there.
love that. Well, then, man, it's again synchronicities. The whole time you were talking, just before you brought up Obama, I was about to bring Obama up myself because it's very. I'm watching him, and I have been for a very long time. I have a whole playlist dedicated to Obama on my channel. But he's great to watch. To me, he obviously has the Antichrist spirit, if you will. Now, here's something else. I'm not saying he's going to be the guy, but again, I'm also not saying he's not. One thing I'm seeing is this, and I'm wondering if you guys have picked up on anything from this. I'm going to throw you back here. When I was in film school, before I got involved in the kind of research I'm into now, one of the first scripts I wrote was about a character much like Obama who gets assassinated, who gets shot in the head, and then they're resurrected. And it was all the stuff I learned from church growing up, but they were going to want it being the Antichrist. Have you seen anything, guys, either one of you lately, that has any kind of connection to it, possibly Obama having that spirit, maybe suffering some kind of a head wound? We had another story today, maybe you guys saw, that somebody else jumped the fence of the White House running towards the main place. So it's like the third one that I can think of that I've seen. And now I look at these things as codes, as signals.
Can I jump in right here? I'm just ready
Please
to
do. Go, guys.
So it happened yesterday. The fence jumping was yesterday, and it came exactly 33 days after the prior fence jumping, which was September 19th. 14. If you add 9 plus 19 plus 14, it sums to 42, the meaning of life number. The first jumper was said to be 42 years old. And what I've noticed, the common theme between the two jumpings is they're both older Hispanic men, which I find curious, at least the names. The first guy was named Omar, which sums to 47. The word president in Caesar sums to 47. Interesting note is that Joe Biden is the 47th vice president. And what I'm telling you guys is he's going to be the president before long because Obama's assassination is part of the script and has always been part of the narrative of his presidency. It doesn't matter if it was him or somebody else. The 44th president was always going to be the 9th president to die while in office.
Wow, you're getting deep with me, bro, because I'm telling you, I just called you bro. Sorry, that's my too much testosterone at times. But I got to say, man, that I've been saying for a few years now that Obama is America's last official president. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll admit it, but run with it. Go ahead, Zachary.
Well, I'm not far off on your idea. I kind of agree with you. I'm not certain. I'm up in the air. But look at this. He ran on the word hope. The word hope in gematria sums to 44. So does the word faith. So does karma. Another word that sums to 44 is kill. So does the word cancer, so does hepatitis, so does E. coli. The full name for E. coli sums to 88. So do so many illnesses and diseases and medications. The abbreviation MD in gematria, M is the 13th letter, so 1 plus 3 becomes 4. D is the 4th letter. The abbreviation MD is 44. The word medicine even. I think there's always been a very sinister plot with Western medicine and the illnesses that we're told about that we're facing.
Well, on
the
that,
Susan G. Cohen Foundation, if you look up the history of the pink ribbons, the word ribbon in gematria sums to 33, just like the word rosary. But if you look up that foundation, it's based on a woman named Susan Goodman who contracted breast cancer at the age of 33 years old.
Wow.
The name
I'm loving
Goodman
this.
in gematria
Keep
sums
going,
to
man.
33. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, keep going, because, it kills me when I talk to people like you and Casey, because you're filling in blanks that were there for me for a very long time. Go ahead.
The name Susan sums to 74. The other number they really like, 74, 33, 33 years old. She died 3 years later at the age of 36, supposedly. The same thing, he was talking about how he knew about Ebola coming because of the 88. I wrote earlier this year that Okay, first of all, let's go back 33 years in time to October of 1981 when AIDS was announced to the world. AIDS sums to 33. HIV sums to 39, numbers that are often paired in this gematria. Patient 0 was a 31-year-old male. The doctor who found him was 33 years old. Those are the ranging degrees of Scottish Rite Freemasonry, 31 through 33. The name was Michael, a name with 33 gematria. The name Michael comes from Revelation in the Bible. Revelation sums to 49. The name Michael, the letters M and I both become 4 and 9. There's just so much coding of words and names that we've never been educated on, but once you look at it, it's so fascinating. But anyway, my point is the history of disease, illness, and killing is all coded with 33 and 44. The first president to ever die in office was William Henry Harrison, the 9th president, who died on April 4th, 4-4. The Martin Luther King Jr. came out against Vietnam and the U.S.'s war and foreign policy on April 4th, 1967, was assassinated a year to the day later, April 4th, 1968. The World Trade Center buildings were opened 5 years to the day later, April 4th, 1973. And you talk about the number 11, the World Trade Centers were massive 11s in the Manhattan sky. Manhattan sums to 29, which has a gematria of 11. In 1968, 33 years before they came crashing to the ground, 911 was made the national emergency dialing code. World Trade Center construction began. George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. Space Odyssey 2001 came out. There's just so much of this stuff. So my point is once you learn what they're doing, you can start correctly predicting or seeing what they're likely going to do. For example, I speculated that James Brady might die this year, and he died on August 4th. Obama's birthday is August 4th. He was once shot 33 years earlier in 1981 by a man with a name that sums to 84 in gematria. Just this, it's just amazing. It's ongoing. Once you see what it is, you can put the pieces together, and that's why I can calmly explain to somebody that Obama really is going to be assassinated, because they've put so much evidence out. It's just a script that you have to follow, but first it has to catch your eye. And it first caught my eye February after he was elected, because he went to where? He went to Ford's Theater and received an illuminated plaque from an actor dressed as Abraham Lincoln. Ford's Theater was reopened for the first time in 1968, for the first time since Abraham Lincoln was assassinated there, and it was closed. It was reopened for the first time in 1968. That's the same year MLK and RFK were assassinated, plus everything else I just told you. It was kept open for 9 years and closed in 1977. It wasn't reopened again until Obama took office to receive that illuminated plaque. And I'm telling you, that kind of stuff is all the signatures of what they do to foreshadow what's coming.
I love that, man. Casey, I know you've got plenty to add. Roll with it, man.
Zachary, you're officially crowned the Rain Man of Gematria. No, but everything you're saying is good. Here's the thing. What the bottom line about all this, great numerology with that. And anyone who's in denial about numerology, the IMF, the leader of the IMF, they acknowledge numerology. The elites acknowledge numerology. They're saturating it in our movies. If you don't acknowledge it, then you're not living in reality, because they're using it, okay? Now the question becomes, what's going on here? Is this the fabric, the framework of our reality that we've actually discovered? Is this what's going on here? Or is this the fallen angel knowledge and technology? Because I got news for you guys. Zachary, you're a very bright individual, but as you know, most people can't keep a handle on numbers like you do. And it takes a mind, a superior mind, to be able to arrange all this stuff. Yeah, you can identify it and see it, but could you imagine yourself on a movie set trying to coordinate all these numbers to make everything flow the way it's supposed to flow? No, it would take a supercomputer. It would take a supernatural mind. So this is where we get into trust in God and Jesus Christ. Okay, you guys? We now know that there is something going on way beyond our level of knowledge and expertise. So, what is the Savior? What is the grace? It's Jesus. That's the only way. And that's why I wake up and expose this stuff every single day, because I want to show people, hey, you think you know the world you live in, but you have no idea. And my backup channel is If You Only Knew. And I named it that way because people don't know. And they go about their lives, they invest in certain, energies and time, and then when you get to the end of your life, you realize you had no idea.
Are your numbers increasing, Casey? Because I'm hoping I can help out. And I'm not trying to act like I'm this big guy, but anything I can do to help somebody else out who's awake. I'm hoping once I upload these next two shows, it'll help Zachary some. And I'm not saying it's all me, but I'm saying just in general, are you seeing your numbers increase? Are people paying attention?
Absolutely. I mean, every day I've got new subscribers. I mean, we started out, of course, like everyone else, with zero, and then I'm up to almost 14,000 subscribers now.
Okay,
And
good.
yeah, I mean,
That's good, man. I want that for both of you guys. I want it for all of us, and it's not for anything but purely and genuinely for the truth. I love this conversation. I'm loving that I got you guys on here together tonight, and I'm hoping it's going to help wake some people up. Personally, I've had a lot of issues lately on my YouTube channels, specifically the KG Osborne, but I just made a video recently. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's called Religiotards. I know it's a little offensive maybe in some respects, but sometimes you got to punch people in the stomach, and this is just kind of maybe my background, the way I look at things, but sometimes you got to get hardcore. I'm getting a lot of people putting my faith on trial. I imagine you guys may have that as well. Zachary, I don't know if you're in that game or not.
Oh, sure. I get questions all the time about what my spirituality and faith is, and I notice sometimes when I respond, they don't respond back, but my subscription count goes down. So I know what they thought.
Well, it's okay because, the people that need to find your info, and Casey's and mine, will find it. Regardless if we're making videos every day or every week or every month, they're going to find it. This is where we're at, and they need to find us. And this is the whole reason I do the radio show. So it's going to come around, man. But yeah, dude, you know this. You're going to run into that. I get some rough ones, and my thing is that it's weird, man. I've dealt with the so-called atheist trolls for so long, calling me names and stuff that, you get used to it. And I just block and ban people. But over the last month, for myself specifically, I found a lot of more religious-type trolls. People very involved with, the law of the Bible. Why aren't you doing this? Why is there not more scripture? Why have you not done that? Stuff like this. And I responded to somebody recently, and I felt like kind of a jerk, but I was telling him, I was like, look, I know the fruits of my labor. I get the messages in my emails and my messages, and I know that I've helped kind of save souls in my own way to wake people up to something. Now, they can take the next level from here. They can go to Anita Fuentes or Paul Begley or some of these more religious-type people if they need, but I've at least planted my seed, and then they kind of chastise me for being a douche about kind of talking about what I've done. But I think you guys get where I'm coming from. Yes, it's a very strange place we're in, and I think all three of us are on the same team. Go ahead, guys.
I'll let Casey go.
Absolutely, and we're all on the same team. Hey, you guys, this comes down to love in your heart. What's your love meter, okay? Here's the deal. In the beginning, 15 subscribers. That's what I started out with. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. All I knew is that I love you. That is all I knew. And I knew that we were going to do this together. Those are the only two things I knew. And there were times where I got trolled heavily. And then, it gets to the point where you start to understand that this is all about intent. And if you keep loving and you keep helping people, I mean, there's been some amazing, amazing revelations. I've had people call me on their deathbed. I've had people call me contemplating suicide. I've had people call me for all kinds of different things. I want to divorce my husband. And to all you listening out there, you know that I've talked to you, and I love you. Because guess what? This is what it's all about. And if we could all start thinking the same way, we can overturn this. Guess what? We make it that much easier when Jesus comes. Not as many people have to die. And that is why I do what I do. Because I want to do my part in the spiritual level to help people. I'm not perfect. I'm no Messiah. I'm no Savior. I'm just a guy who loves God and loves people. And I'm going to do what God wants me to do. I've given up my entire life for God. And I know this might be a little preachy for some people, but guess what? It all boils down to one thing. You don't even have to say the G word. You can just say love. It's the same thing. Okay.
There you go, man. I'm glad you even said that. I mean, that's the other thing I like about you guys. I'm the same way. Is I walk a very fine line. I don't want to be too preachy and beat people over the head with things. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I want to get the message out. It's just you got to. It's very. I don't know, and I get taken to task for that. I'm sure you guys do too. Why isn't there more scripture? Why are you not preaching more? My thing is this: if I started making videos, and you guys, I imagine, be the same way, we started just preaching straight from the Bible and telling people how to live their lives, that'd be the same thing as all these churches that we all ran away from years ago, or most of us never even attended. Am I right? I don't know, but Zachary, go ahead, man. You got anything to add?
Sure, I just really like what he said, and it does sound like we're similar people, which should come as no surprise. I mean, what are we out here doing? We're out here spending our time trying to reveal truth because we want to make a better world for us to live in, and that's what it's all about for me too. You know, since I'm sad to say that I didn't have the best upbringing. I'm not from any money. My parents were essentially working slaves. Essentially, all of us are working slaves, and I think that's really the fundamental thing that's done to all of us that keeps us in the dark, because so many people are working so hard and are so exhausted and are so mentally and physically drained, they don't have time to do what we're doing, essentially. So in a way, the three of us are probably also privileged in the fact that we've been able to find a way to do this research.
Yeah, that's a good attitude, man. I totally agree. That's what keeps me going. I imagine it's you guys do too. I mean, well, that and the fact that I love making videos and showing people things. But I mean, at the end of the day, and it's not being arrogant, but we have to realize there's people who may actually count on kind of our information and just, we're saying things they wish they could, but they have families or they're busy and they can't make videos,
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. I have this perspective of growing up. I've always been an outspoken person. I was that kid in the classroom who raised my hand more than any other and probably drove to let my fellow classmates nuts. But, growing up, I come to see, okay, it's not just as a kid, it's as an adult too. People will complain to their friends, but they'll never really voice. It doesn't seem like most people will let their voice be heard to where it needs to be heard if they feel that they have something to say. And I think that's because inherently, the way we're brought up, we're taught to think that we're powerless and should be obedient to almost all authority.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Go ahead, Casey.
I was just going to say, I'm sure both of you guys would probably agree that there's some kind of a hedge around us. I mean, they could easily, the New World Order, with the stuff that we've exposed, they could have shut us down a long time ago. But for some reason, spiritually, we're able to continue this work.
You're talking my language. Keep going, man. We're protected. That's the whole reason we're here. People write me like, "Why are you still making videos? You've done this and that." And I'm like, I can't explain it, dude. I pray every single day. I say thanks God for letting me have this channel. You know what I mean? And I think that's it. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I think there's spiritual rules in heaven. And, KJ, you've got a lot of subscribers. I've got some subscribers. Zachary's got subscribers, but we're nowhere near some of the real heavy hitters in terms of truth. And so what happens is you got to understand that people don't understand we're under spiritual attack. I have to block and ban literally 5 to 10 people a day.
Thank you.
The first comment out of their mouth is, you need to go take your medication. Now, guess what? I can't even have a dialogue with that person because they've already attacked me. And this isn't about ego. It's about protecting truth is what it's about.
Yes. Man, you're talking my language, Zachary. I'm not sure if you're there yet. I'm going to say this. Zachary's kind of really getting his thing in there. He's getting more subscribers. He's building himself up. But Zachary, I've told you before, and I mean this, you're going to have subs. You're going to have a bigger channel. It's going to happen, period, just because of the information you're bringing. And you're going to start, if you don't already have it, you're going to get more of this, like Casey's getting, like I get consistently. This is one of the reasons I have to take breaks. I fish. I love fishing. I always go fishing. And sometimes, like I told you, I think Zachary and I talked earlier before we were on the show, and it's like I say, hey man, if I take 24 hours away from YouTube and come back, my little Google thing in the top right hand corner, that's 100. Like I have that many things to respond to. And when I do that every single day, and 50% are telling me I'm a fag, I'm retarded, I need my meds, I'm crazy, or that I'm not being scriptural, I'm not a Christian, I'm a false teacher. After so many days of that, you just get worn down, you know what I mean? So I have to fish a lot, or spend time with my friends or my family. I take a lot of breaks, but anyway, I'm with you on that, man. Keep rolling, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Zachary, did you want to add anything? I'm sorry, I didn't want to.
Sure, I'll just echo on what you just said about getting beat down and tired. I think last time we spoke, you said you've been woken up for about 6 years, somewhere in there.
Right, around there. And I've always done something for it, yeah.
Sure. Honestly, I've been awake since the day 9/11 happened. I never went back to sleep, and I've just wanted to know more and more. And in that time, it's been really frustrating for me. I had just turned 18. I was barely 18 years old when 9/11 happened. I was in my second week of college away from home. And I think I talked about this last week. I just learned very quickly that people, they didn't want to discuss it in a questioning manner because I wanted to question the heck out of it from the beginning. And
I was active duty when it happened. I was actually driving across country to another unit at the time, and I remember seeing all these American flags unfurled on the overpasses and the highways, right? Like in the same day. And it was that day. And I was like, what the heck? And the AM radio stuff, I finally found a channel and it was talking about it. But my point is this. Dude, I was so indoctrinated at that point, there was no way of getting out. At that point in my life, I was thinking Bush was a good Christian leading our nation. You know, these filthy Muslims, you know, came after us. So, yeah, but go ahead. I've learned, but yeah.
Sure, and what you just expressed is pretty much the way everybody felt. And at the time, if you didn't feel that way, you were made to feel like not only an outcast, but really essentially a bad person. And I was getting that kind of feedback from people I knew as well as family members. And essentially, what's happened since that time is my skin has just hardened, and I've just decided, okay, I'm going to learn my stuff so well that even when these people get in my face and say all these nasty stuff like you guys are reporting people say to you, which happens to me as well, I can just calmly not react to them and continue to explain or say, you know, if you really feel that way about me, I don't have to share with you. I'm not trying to upset you. I'm just trying to share with you some knowledge. That just happened to me 2 weeks ago in a sports bar. As much as all my friends still love to watch the Seahawks. I live in Seattle. I'm nice. Into exposing what it is, but I still hang out with my friends and go to the game. So 2 weeks ago, I was
same thing.
Bar, and I was talking to a man there who was getting upset because the Seahawks are about to lose to the Cowboys. So I thought I'd cheer him up by letting him know about how it's all a big hoax anyway. Well, he just went right into one of the things right away, like, "Oh, are you one of those kind of weirdos?" You know, just how people just respond and.
Yeah, that's years of conditioning, man. Years of conditioning, for sure.
Yeah, so I'm just so used to that kind of stuff. But the thing so this guy would respond like that and say, "Look, I'm not a weirdo, and if you want to listen, I think you'll see that what I'm saying is true." So anyway, he was making fun of me, and we just decided not to talk. But this is what ended up happening. I just said, you know what? Let's just agree to just not have this conversation.
Yep, that's
so
best.
Anyway, we were sitting there, and the game wasn't quite over, and he was angry, and it looked like he was coming back to me to make a reason. At the end of the game clock totally changed the time. It was about at 3 minutes and counting down. All of a sudden, it just went to a minute 16. And the guy next to me, he'd probably been drinking a little bit. He nudged me on the shoulder, and he goes, "Hey, I bet you think 116 means something." And I look back at him, and I go, "Well, if you want to know what it means, I can actually tell you." I said the word country sums to 116. The phrase nuclear war. And if you flip 116 upside down, it's 911. I said the other thing about 116 is it's 76 seconds, and your favorite football team was joined the NFL in the year 76. The Seahawks joined the NFL in 76. They were established 2 years earlier in 74, and they happened to be the only team in the NFL with a gematria of 33. And they also happened to be the only team to ever have won the Super Bowl on the 33rd day of the year, which just happened this past year. First Super Bowl hosted by 2 states, the third and the 11th. So anyway,
how many shots did that guy? How many shots did that guy order after you told him all that?
Well, but I just told him at the end, he didn't get angry, and he just looked at me, and I think it actually set in on the final one. I think at that point he was like, "Okay, wait a minute, maybe there is something to this."
Exactly,
so,
dude. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the point is 10 years ago, if somebody would have shouted down and did all that to me, I probably would have not even tried to talk again, and maybe even in my own mind question myself, like, is there something wrong with me? But now, just like, going through this, getting used to people speaking this way, I found that I'm able to end up persuading a lot of these people who start off with the insulting tone and the tinfoil hat comments and all the stereotypical stuff you expect.
Totally.
So I would encourage you guys, and anyone listening, if you are out there trying to talk to people and are running into these types of things, I would encourage you to learn more about these numbers, because I've found that the numbers actually really do break through to people, even though it's true, like what Casey said at the beginning, a lot of people aren't that great with numbers. If you explain it clearly, it will set in.
Absolutely. And the amazing thing is that, you can actually derive certain realities from this. Like, for instance, last year we talked about Super Bowl Sunday. We had actual prediction that something would happen in Hell's Kitchen. We actually gave the exact coordinates. And sure enough, there was an explosion in Hell's Kitchen. Also, Philip Seymour Hoffman died. That was kind of a turning point for all of us. You know, it's really easy to forget these things, to forget the milestones that we've accomplished in finding out the plans of the New World Order. But if we look back, and I encourage everyone, you know, this is some useful advice when you're doing research. You can research the channel name and any subject matter, and you can find a treasure trove of information. I just hit my 1,000th video.
Congrats.
And thanks. And we've covered just about every movie from 1988, just about every movie from 2008, 2014, and 1984. Those are all very important years for the Illuminati and New World Order. So you can, you know, do a Google search on that, and it will pop up. But I'd like to switch gears and maybe talk about blood diamonds.
Well, Casey, let me throw this out real quick, fellas. We're at the top of the hour, and this happens every week, and I never just say that. Please understand, it blows me away how fast this time goes. I have to run a little music and a few commercials, and let me just throw it out there to you folks. If you'd like to listen to the show live, or even just, you know, after it's archived, check out psn-radio.com to check us out. I'm live Thursday nights, 7 to 9 Central Standard Time. And not only that, go check out the Scariest Movie Ever channel on YouTube, and you'll find me uploading the shows there as well. We're at the end of the first hour, so I've got to do a little music, I got to do a little ads, and we're going to be back in the second hour. Now, Zachary, can you come back with us, or how you looking?
I got to take off. I got to head out in the next few minutes, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, fair enough, man. Well, it's been great. Casey, we'll have plenty to discuss the second hour. But Zachary, what a pleasure. Thanks for coming back. You know I'll talk to you on YouTube anyway and just outside of that. But why don't you guys say goodbye, too? Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, Zachary. Hey, it's been awesome. I'd like to get on, you know, some kind of a show and bring up any kind of subject matter I can with you and run the numbers by you and see what we come up with.
100%. When you just talked about the Hell's Kitchen thing, I have a lot of information on that, and I want to talk about it, but then I'll be talking for another 10 minutes straight, so there's always more to talk about.
Well, here's what I'm going to do is in the future, I'm getting to the point where, you know, I get pretty much most of the guests I go after I get, which has been a real blessing. But I'm getting to the point a lot of the times it's not even about who I want to go get that's new. I want to go back to you guys who I just love talking to in general. So we'll certainly be doing more shows where I incorporate three of us for 2 hours or an hour. That's going to happen, period. Zachary, thank you, man. You're a brother, and I appreciate it. Casey, I'm going to go to music and commercials here in a second, but I'll keep you on the line with me. Zachary, how can people find your work?
So, freetofindtruth.blogspot.com. That's where my written blog is. I have so much information there. If you go to that site and in the top left corner with the search and type in anything, I've covered almost every conspiracy topic out there, plus way more than you ever knew about. Also, if you just go to YouTube and type in my full name, Zachary K. Hubbard, it'll come up. And also, I have a website coming soon, freetofindtruth.com. That's where I'm at. And thanks for having me on. I really appreciate this show. It was a great one.
Man, you're welcome. Thank you, Zachary. Seriously, it's always a pleasure. Man, I just wish that all of us lived in the same FEMA region sometimes. We'd all go have a beer or something. But you know, who knows, man. But anyway, I'll talk to you again here real soon, Zachary. Thank you very much, and take care, man. God bless you, brother.
All right. You guys have a great night. Thanks again.
See you later, man. All right, Casey, you still there with me?
I'm here with you.
Cool. Hey, guys, we're going to go ahead and cut off to some commercials and some music for a little bit and get us a little refresher. I'm going to grab some more hot tea over here. We'll be right back, guys, with KJ Ozborne and Casey from Enter the Stars on YouTube, and we'll talk to you here soon. Thank you. see. Okay, guys, can you hear us? I think you can. There you go. Hey, guys, it's KJ. I'm back now from the break. This is KJ with Rigged Reality Radio, your alternative to the alternative media. And we had our first hour with our great friend Casey from Enter the Stars, and also had a very special guest who I'm really glad these guys finally got to meet, but that was Zachary Hubbard, who's, I don't even know what to call him. I guess he's very connected with the language of numbers. He understands gematria and whatnot. Either way, we're back. Casey, man, how'd that go, dude? I mean, it was a big deal for me to get you guys together. How did you feel about that? Do you see why? What was the connection?
Absolutely. I mean, what an amazing gift that Zachary has with these numbers. I mean, he has the brain of a computer. And, we each have our own individual gifts. And I try not to force my gifts on other people. And I hope that other people don't force their gifts on me. And so what happens is you get this synchronicity. And a really great example of that is on my channel. I encourage everyone to give their input. And they do daily. And it's an amazing phenomenon. I mean, 80% of the material that I come up with is from my subscribers. And I'm blessed to have each and every one of them. I love, even the ones that hate me, I love them too. And that's what we are tasked to do. So Zachary has an amazing gift, and I know we'll be working together in the future.
Man, that's cool. I'm really glad to hear that, man, and good. I'm glad you guys. I think that we're going to find a lot of interesting things with you guys, and like I said, man, this show is changing. I mean, it always changes. I've only been doing it about 3 months, but it keeps evolving into whatever it's going to wind up being. But what I'm seeing more and more is I want to bring some of you guys back that I see connected. I've got guys I've really loved, really all of you guys, but Unplug him. I got to have him back. Do you ever watch any of his stuff?
No, I haven't yet. He's got a YouTube channel?
Yes, UNPLUGEM. Check out Unplug him sometime. He's wonderful, but he's gifted as well. He's got his own thing going on, and of course, and there's just so many more. So ultimately, I like to have like 3 on at a time for a couple hours discussing maybe like local or current topics. But see, even with that, man, it's hard for me because I don't know about you, because you've been on fire lately. You're doing a lot of great work, and I want to get into that. But for me, even like with current topics and things like this, I always sit back. Like, I just wait, because all these mainstream stories develop into other things. Sometimes they just fizzle into nothing. Sometimes they develop into something huge. But I'm always looking for the symbols and signs. That's what I do. But, I mean, what do you think about that?
And it's kind of eerie. I got chills up my spine that you actually mentioned that, because that was the very next thing I was going to talk about. And this is the synchronicity of truth. I mean, this, of course, none of this is scripted. We're going on the fly here. And so none of this was planned, but the very next thing that was going to come out of my mouth was the incident with the Georgia Guidestones. And how some of us went out on a limb, and we actually talked about they are going to bring this to the United States. And how did we know that? Before even the first case of Ebola happened in the United States and Texas. How did we know that? Because we just knew. Why? Because the Georgia Guidestones keyhole, there's a keyhole that's aligned to the sun, the sunset and sundown. It's a hole drilled through the rock. A lot of people don't know this, but this hole points exactly to Guinea in Africa. And it just so happens this discovery was made as the stone was placed, the cube was placed next to the statement talking about world depopulation. And I went out on a limb on this, and I'm not trying to float my boat or anything, but I'm just trying to get people to remember what exactly happened. And we said that, mark my words, Ebola would become a staple name in United States of America, and that's exactly what it's become.
I need to hear that. That's good, and that's what I've been doing, man, is I'm sitting back on Ebola. I've done a few little videos, I did a Walking Dead Ebola video because I saw real things there. And that's, whenever I see things like that, I may not know everything, but spiritually, it's telling me to keep an eye on this subject, whatever it is. Now, yeah, sure, a lot of it's hoaxes. I see all that. We got friends out there who are doing that stuff, and they're doing great work on it. There's a lot of hoaxes and a lot of BS, but that doesn't take away from the seriousness of it either. And I think our friends realize that as well, that they, the elite, the Illuminati, whatever, they can use that, man. They can weaponize Ebola. They can put something else on us and say it's Ebola. Whatever. It's a free pass for a false false flag, yeah?
Absolutely. And here's what's going on. I tell people, it doesn't matter if it's real or not. What matters is that they're planning it and they're implementing it. That's what matters, and that they're lying to all of us, okay? And that they're hiding it in plain sight before they do it. That is what we should be concerned with. It doesn't matter if it's really happening or not. The fact is the people that are in control of this country are showing us in media glimpses of their plans before they do them. That should concern every man, woman, and child on this planet. Now, we found the word globe, and the word globe in the 12 Monkeys movie, spelled backwards, is Ebola. You guys, whether you want to admit it or not, yeah, the G looks like a G, but really it's an ampersand, which is an A, and that's Ebola.
I saw that video. I agree with you on that. I mean, what it reminded me of actually is, I don't know how, I don't think you and I have ever talked about the Groxt, but I'm friends with Mark, who's the Groxt on YouTube. And, I don't sign off 100% on anything from anybody, and same with me. I would expect none of y'all to do that with me. Use your spirit, use your the Holy Spirit, your discernment, your critical thinking, your logic. You know what I mean? We're all human. But when I saw that, it connected, because I am connected with Mark as well. Same with Jonathan Kleck. A lot of you guys, I see things you guys do, and I'm like, it makes sense. But that reminded me of that sometimes things are really laid out like that in the spiritual, that so many people just can't see it,
Right. And when I realize I've stumbled, on truth is when I see the truth that we've discovered repeated either in the past or in the present. So either I see something that someone's already discovered from 5 years ago that I had no idea. I didn't see that video, but we came upon the same truth. Or I see it in the present. I see another channel working alongside me that I am not necessarily monitoring or seeing, and they're arriving at the same truth. This is happening quite a bit, like with you and I. It's happening with Round Saturn's Eye. It's happening with Jonathan Kleck. And the ego part of us wants to think, oh, they stole that idea from me. But no, it's that we're all synchronizing on the same truth at the same time.
Totally.
That it's truth.
I'm going to throw this out because I'm thinking about doing, there's so many videos I think of doing and I don't do. And you're probably the same way, but I kind of want to do one where just in the last few days, I got something from Jonathan that connected with my work, and then I got something from the Groxt that he hadn't done yet. He's probably doing it right now, and it's a video on the new trailer for the Age of Ultron. And Mark, if you're listening, you're going to want to do a video on this because it completely adds up to everything we're talking about. Look at the Antichrist robot or whatever cyborg they use in there, and look at the robot that he grabs and picks up that's dead and beaten. It's got the 4 on it, and that's the end of the 4th age. I mean, we get deep, man, but I'm with you, Casey, and I see all that. I need to go ahead and do this before I talk too much, but same like you said, it's not about who gets it first, who's got the exclusive. It's about just doing it. But dude, we're all connected in so many ways, and not just us. That's what I love about our subscribers. There's so many people out there that don't even do videos, but they get it. They know us. They know the information. They tell me things that lead me to places. I know you're the same way.
Right, and here's the thing. Truth is free, you guys. No one owns truth. Here's the thing. We're all connected, as you say, KJ. And I just want to encourage everybody, all these channels. I know that sometimes it's tough. And I know that sometimes we want to be recognized. And I know that sometimes that we want to feel important or that we're part of it. But guess what? Your treasure's in heaven, man.
Yep, I love it.
Your treasure is. All your job is here to do is to help open people's eyes. That's it. And so everything's going to be equalized in heaven, okay? And that's why I don't worry. I tell people every single day, use anything you want on my channel, repeat it, mirror it. If you do a search on Enter the 5T4RZ, you will see that my work's everywhere.
Oh my gosh, crazy synchronicity. Again, I was just about to throw your website out or your YouTube and say it was Enter the 5T4RZ. I love it. We're connected, brother. You know that. But I want people to go look you up. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so that's what it's about, you guys. It's about spreading truth, okay? Now, is everything that I say truth? No, but all together, guess what? A magical thing happens. We've got millions of minds searching, hunting, love in our hearts, and search for truth. It's rare that I say, absolutely, this is the truth. I say, this is a conglomeration, a conflation of information coming together for all of us to try to understand what it is we're doing here. Okay? And this is a battle of the minds. It's not about picking up a weapon. Guess what? Our souls are eternal. As soon as we decide to have love in our hearts, nothing can happen to our body that God can't fix in the spirit. Okay?
You know what's been destroying me lately? Like, I'm not destroying me, but just kind of hit me in such a heavy way as this. Especially after seeing these confirmations from my friends, even you and whoever. I'm seeing all these things connect. I know at the end of the day, period, we're in that season, guys. I mean, Jesus is coming back. The end is near, all that. And I'm not trying to be a fearmonger, a scaremonger, none of that. Man, this stuff like shakes me to my core so much I have to leave YouTube for a couple days sometimes and just go fish. I mean, sometimes I need to just go chill a little bit because I realize how heavy this stuff is, or it could be. But on the other hand, what I'm starting to kind of, a different approach I'm taking to it is the excitement. It's exciting. I mean, this is cool stuff. There may be some rough times to come, guys, but at the end of it, oh my gosh, we got paradise, guys. We got paradise. I mean, it's coming, and I'm not, again, some people are going to hear this and think I'm a kook and I'm being crazy. I'm telling you what I know, and you look at my work for the last almost 10 years and you're going to see it. This is what's coming. This is the season we're in. Do not be afraid. It's an easy, free gift. Don't worry about going to your churches and this and that. Even if you are, no offense to you, everyone has a different path. But listen, it's your personal relationship with God to know that Jesus Christ is the key. In my opinion, guys, it's a free gift. We're going. It's coming. Anyway, I don't want to keep preaching. Go ahead.
No, and I mean, everything that you're saying is true, KJ. And here's the thing: there were three men in the Bible. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and they were willing to walk into a flaming fire for God. Okay? So what does that mean? It means we're not going to get burned. That means that God has our souls eternal, and I am of the belief that in these last days there will be miracles performed in which those who stand up for God, just like in the days of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they will not get burned.
Okay, man, I'm glad you brought that up. Let me tell you why. This is another one of the reasons I wanted to have you on. Maybe you've covered this. I don't know. I am definitely not the best with my Bible. I mean, I have one and I go through it, but I only go through certain kind of areas: Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. I go through through anything that Jesus spoke of. I've covered Daniel, kind of things like this. I've got to read it all again. I know this, but guys, again, this is why I reach out. And I recently reached out to more of a kind of religiously based YouTube channel, which is Fire Charger, because he had done a video on this subject I'm very interested in. And that's the idea that, let's say, in the end, quote unquote, when it's all crazy and there's FEMA camps and say Christians are being persecuted and this and that and the other, that we will have a spiritual power that is beyond anything you can imagine right now, that you will not need to worry, that God will take care of you. He covered that. I had messaged him. At first he responded, but then one of his people, of course, one of these, and again, I'm going to sound mean, but one of these kind of religiotards, if you will, answered and said, do not trust this guy. Everything he does doesn't do anything. He hasn't helped anybody. He's an ear tickler, and this is what we get into with religion. Regardless of this, let's go back to what I was originally saying. I'm with that, Casey. Are you with me on that? That, like, if people are still around during those days and evil has manifested that explicitly, how can we not expect that God is going to give us power way beyond that we're seeing manifesting in evil?
Well, it's already happening, KJ. It's happening on my channel. It's happening on your channel. Look at all the stuff you've exposed on your channel. Look at all the stuff I've exposed. Why hasn't someone... Dude, for 6 months, I thought someone was going to show up to my door and assassinate me in the middle of the night.
Dude, I've got messages of people telling me they found personal information on me and stuff, which was weird, and they told me about it. So it's I'm with you.
Same thing. They told me they actually stated my place of employment and told me, how would your employer like it if they knew that you had this channel? Direct threats. But guess what? Nothing's happened. The miracles are already happening. We're already spiritually protected. Now, here's how I'm going to address, these religitards that you talked about. I almost guarantee you that those are in fact trolls. They're not real people. They're coming on to create division. Okay, they're trying to get you to attack Christians, which I know you'll never do because I know you. But
Yes.
that's what they're trying to get you to do, so that Christians won't come and learn the truth. That they'll stay in their churches and be afraid to come out to YouTube and find real truth. Okay, so that's what I believe is going on with that. Here's the thing. You know people by their fruit. I keep saying this, but it is the truth. When someone attacks you and calls you an evil thing, something that we would never say to anybody else, already they're disqualified. You know their fruit. Gone. See ya. Leave my life. Good luck with your karma. I still love you, but you need to get your karma. And that's the bottom line.
That's so true, man. I've said that. I think I said that last week, and again, I'll have that uploaded this weekend. But same thing is that's the one thing that YouTube, Google did right was how easy it is to block and ban people. And I'm tired of dealing with. I don't want to debate my faith, my viewpoints. I put it in my videos, guys. So I'm done. And when people want to chastise me and throw stones, I just block and ban. Whether that seems right or wrong to some, but
listen, we have a voice. We're not on here condemning people. We're not on here saying everyone's going to, you're going to go to hell if you don't think. No, we don't do that. So when someone does it to you, they've already exposed themselves as to what their, motive is. And so therefore they've already disqualified themselves from the free will, whatever you call it, arena of love.
Yeah.
Because it's all love based.
Well, sometimes don't you want to tell people it's this? And here's the other thing is I hate, I don't hate, but I really dislike explaining myself. I don't like having to do that. And I see a lot of people out there having to do videos explaining themselves because they're under attack. And I get under attack. I don't like having to do that. I don't want to have to sit here and say this is what this means. What I really want to say is this. I'm probably not speaking to you, and that's okay. If you're a part of a church, you've been going to church your whole life, you're this, you're that, you got your beliefs, you're set, my channel is probably not for you. I'm genuinely in the trenches spiritually. This is why I do things more creatively, more kind of bizarre, some people might say, with some of the things I do, but I'm doing this all purposefully. For one, it's just kind of who I am. Secondly, I'm reaching the people that need to hear this stuff, man. It's like not everybody's going to hear it putting on their best suit and going to a building every Sunday. And I sound mean, I know, but that's just the fact, yeah?
Well, the increase in knowledge is not occurring in the churches right now. It's occurring in YouTube and in other alternative media sources where we can actually listen to the people. The 75,000 subscribers you have or the 14,000 subscribers I have, instead of being bound by the doctrine of the 501c3, which is the tax-exempt status that forbids you from speaking out against war, which forbids you from speaking out against abortion, which forbids you from speaking out against all these things. And this is what the churches have to go by, this 501c status. And that is the difference between what you and I do. I'm rolling right now. My channel's demonetized, and it has been for 6 months now. Does that
really
stop me making videos?
No, man.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Casey. Go ahead.
Because I do it for the right reasons. What people don't realize, I get attacked all the time. Oh, you're just diverting. You just want views. Okay, you step into my shoes and you work for $1 an hour, and you tell me how long you can do that. Okay, $1 an hour.
Yeah, that's such a strange area for me, because I've talked about this before, and I haven't monetized my main channel in quite a while. I've monetized all my KJ videos, but I don't know, man. It's like, even though I haven't monetized in such a long time on my main channel, and I've monetized tons of videos on there, but I've only got just over 300. Like, I do good, which is nice, but see, I pray about this stuff, you know what I mean? So to me, it's almost like I look at it like I'm being rewarded that, I guess, in a way to continue doing the things and be free to do what I want to do. And I still do some things outside of YouTube, but I'm pretty liberal with that. I can kind of do it when I want and not. But I feel like I've been given that. Now again, this is not a debate or an argument over monetizing or not. I've been this way pretty much since the beginning. I mean, anybody can go back to my videos and look through my history and see it's the way I roll. And that's not a bad thing, but even with that, like I've said in the past, I ran my channel, or my YouTube, not YouTube, my website, riggedreality.com, for almost 5 years, made $17 in donations, so it's beyond all of that. My thing is this: I feel I've done this almost 8 years now. It's around that time now, and I'm being blessed with doing it in that respect. Here I am, like, explaining it all away. I do it all the time, I know, but but some people again will write you and say, "Oh man, you got monetization and you're..." No, man. That's the worst way to look at it. I guess to me it's like almost looking at using the beast system to kind of help your own self out, I guess. But everybody has a different viewpoint on that. Regardless, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
this goes back to a lot of the messages that we'll get on our videos too. People arguing about all these semantics and things, or asking you, "What's your faith? What church do you go to?" And I'm consistently saying, and I imagine you are as well, do not worry about me. Focus on the message. Focus on the, if you connect with that, cool. If not, fine. Call me a false prophet and disappear. But I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, what people need to understand is there really is no money in YouTube. If you've got less than 75,000 subscribers, you're not making money on YouTube. That's not why we're here.
Right.
Yeah, the channel may be monetized. My channel was monetized for some time, but if that was the reason why I was here, I would have stopped making videos 6 months ago. That's not why we're here. Okay, the monetization, what does that do? It might get you a new laptop every year. Okay.
Well, you know what, too, though, man, is the people who do it for the wrong reasons will be seen. They'll be known. I mean, there are those, and I've said this in the past in other shows, and you know this without naming names or anything, but there are so-called Illuminati conspiracy kind of bottom feeders that will just kind of grab anything with Illuminati on it, redo a video on it, put an ad on it, and they're going to make some money,
Yeah.
But I think everybody's exposed. I mean, as I always say, and you do in your own way as well, the truth is coming out. That doesn't just mean on Obama or on Bush or on religion or on Freemason. It's everything. Everything is being exposed. Yeah.
And part of that truth is why is Ebola happening in Africa, in West Africa? And I did some videos recently on follow the money. Okay. So let's look at that. Let's talk about blood diamonds for a minute, okay? The Ebola outbreak happened in December of 2013, okay? That was when the first documented case, as far back as they could track it. And it just so happened that this coincided exactly with the arrival of Comet Ison. And a lot of people have forgotten about Comet Ison. But we were beating the drums, and we had proof that every 666 years, a comet came through, and we had the Black Plague.
Hey, wait. Was Ison, was it close to a 666 year time, or what?
Exactly 666 years after Comet Negro.
Really?
Which happened in 1347, okay? And then 333 years before Comet Ison, there was another comet that came through, and it brought Black Plague as well. And I'm not trying to scare people, but this is the fact of the matter.
Well, this is why I love you. This is why I had you on. I have never heard of that, so go ahead, man.
Absolutely. So then here we go. December, right around Christmas time, was when the first documented case. Now, of course, hindsight is 2020. But now you go on Wikipedia, you look up the Ebola outbreak, it's documented, it started in December, just as Comet Ison, the tail, was sweeping across the globe. Okay, globe, Ebola backwards, no pun intended. But here's the thing. We had that. We also had a study going on in San Antonio, Texas. It was a live Ebola study by a Canadian pharmaceutical company in which they were injecting live patients with Ebola in January of 2014, long before the outbreak, the full-on outbreak happened, Okay, this was when there were only a few cases in West Africa. And this was in San Antonio, Texas, where they were conducting the study. So there was a synchronicity there. How often do they do live Ebola studies? That doesn't happen every year, but it happens.
Keep going, man. I want to hear what you're catching. What are you catching on this Ebola? Keep rolling. I'm very interested.
Well, we're talking about blood diamonds. And what I've expressed on my channel is all diamonds are diamonds. This is what the workers in the diamond mines of West Africa are subjected to. They are subjected to daily full-body x-rays, way far above and beyond the allowable limits before you can start to contract cancer. They are subjected to daily anal exams to ensure that they are not smuggling out diamonds out of the diamond mine. These people are paid pennies a day in their own native country to mine the diamond mines.
Did you ever find... I'm sorry, Case, I want to ask you this. Did you ever find a connection between Operation Rescue from Pat Robertson and Blood Diamonds? You ever go there?
Pat Robertson? No, I haven't.
And that's cool if you didn't. I just keep rolling with where you're going, but I want to add that in. But that's something I found a long time ago. But Pat Robertson had this thing for 700 Club called Operation Rescue that they wound up getting busted because they were bringing back blood diamonds. So I thought it was interesting. Either way, keep rolling, man.
Well, that is the hoax. The hoax is that there's thousands of Africans running around with AK-47s, raping women and children, and trading diamonds for guns, and that they've got control, and they're causing civil wars in West Africa. That's the hoax. This is the hoax that everybody should be looking at. Because it's not actually what's going on. What's going on is they had a huge diamond discovery in August of 2013. It was listed on miners.com website, in which they're talking about this huge diamond discovery, and that they were going to go and look in Liberia, the actual place, some of the starting points of where the actual outbreak started. It started in Guinea, and the hardest hit areas were in Liberia. In the very same exact place, they had an Ebola outbreak months later, and Liberia, as stated by a professional on this video that I did, is the place where they have the world's largest uncut diamonds discoveries.
Wow.
You got to start asking yourself, we're out of synchronicities here, okay? We've got the largest diamond discoveries, and I've started to track this. I'm doing some research on this, but it's really hard to find historical information on diamond discoveries because I'm trying to coincide this with Ebola outbreaks, because what they do is they basically release disease on these areas to clear out the natives, the locals.
I want to go to another level on that too, just curious, but this is something I covered on my backup years ago. This is scary as some of you ever run 111, which is gone now, of course, but the idea of the Jewish connection, the Zionist connection to selling diamonds to people in America as being kind of an idol of marriage, yeah? I mean, that's where all that came from. Go ahead.
Jewelry. El is God, Jew is Jew, of course, jewelry, the word. Jewelers are the people that cut the diamonds. The world's, they do a lot of diamond cutting in India, but there are a lot of Jewish people, and that is their trade, okay? So what better way, okay, to ensure your world domination economically than to control the most valuable things on this planet?
Oh, that's so perfect.
We know that the fallen angels taught women ornamentation. We know that they taught them eyeshadowing. We know that they taught them antimony. Antimony is the main ingredient in eyeshadow. We know that they taught them the use of metals. This is all documented in the Book of Enoch. We know this, okay? So then now we're here in the modern day, and we have items of little value that are held at the highest value. We also know that a diamond also reflects light, Lucifer, light, okay? We know that the diamond is the hardest substance on the planet, and that is something that Satan was actually, they explain in the book of Exodus that he actually had diamonds on his breastplate that he wore.
Heavy.
And
that's heavy.
We also know that Lucifer, if you do a search on Lucifer, Satan, diamonds, all the truth that you need will be exposed about the diamonds and the link to Lucifer. So,
I just want to say quickly, folks, I hope you heard that. Listen to this. This is heavy. I know it's different, but it's heavy, man, and it's very real. I've seen it the same way for a very long time. It also goes back to the connection of pagan ritual with marriage and whatnot. And I don't want to get too deep, but Casey, I imagine you see that connection as well. But keep going, bro. I'm sorry. I just wanted to throw that in.
Lucifer is the light bearer. We have Rihanna, diamonds in the sky. We have Umbrella, in which she flicks the water in the video, and you see the horns of Satan in the water. Now, what I want to remind people is every key word that you hear us speaking on this radio show, you can type in to YouTube and find all the information that you need. If you're hungry for truth, you will find the truth. And that's why I'm throwing out these key words to you that you can find for yourself. Okay, KJ and I have already discovered a lot of this stuff, but our job is to communicate it to you guys so that we can all understand, so that the world can change, so that we can stop signing up our young men and women to go to war, to these fruitless wars, so that we can start to live more in nature instead of these big cities.
Yes.
So that we can be more self-sufficient and live like how God wanted us to live, not how Satan wants us to live. Satan's counterpart a lot of people don't know, Cain built the first city. The first city ever mentioned in the Bible was built by Cain. Okay?
Yes. And yeah, I'm with you, man. And I mean, same message. I hope that the folks will listen to this. I know a lot of people already connect to it, and that's cool. But you know, I don't want to say we're not worried about you, but in a way we're kind of not. We're glad you're a part of the team. But let's get the rest of them. Let's go get the rest of them. Let's wake them up. Let's shake them up. Let's show them what's going on. Even if we don't have all the answers, all of us have pieces. I got some, Casey's got some, and everybody else has got some out there. So let's just keep it going, guys, because this is where we're at right now. This is a real awakening. We are on the verge of something incredible, something amazing. There will be some dark times. But, guys, it's time. It's time to look up, man. We're there. Yeah, Casey?
Absolutely. This goes really deep, and, you know, some of this information is going to be troubling for some, and this is what I tell people. You know, sometimes people come on my channel and they're like, I've been with you for a year and it's kind of the same thing. And I said, listen, that's not who Jesus came for. Jesus came for the people who were broken, who needed to see the truth. Once you find it, I don't expect you to stay on my channel. If you already know the truth, then it's time to move on, maybe. Maybe
Perfect.
Follow your gift. But other people need to see this information.
Perfect, man. That is the perfect message, and people, I hope they hear that, because I see that on my videos too. Why are you even bothering exposing this? I already know it. It's like, okay, cool. You know it, but what about your neighbor? What about your friend? What about your mother? You know, like a lot of people don't get this. So once you get it, that's cool. Move on, evolve into whatever your thing is, and let us keep doing our work, yeah?
Absolutely. And here's the other thing. This goes deep. Let's rewind back to 2012, the animated film I Pet Goat 2, which just so happens to be 7 minutes long, okay? In this film, we see a character. He is a skeleton, and he is the character Baron Samedi, and he is representative of voodoo, okay? And basically, this character is a skeleton with a top hat and a suit and a bow tie, okay? And it is unmistakable who they are trying to represent in the film I Pet Goat 2, okay? For those of you that don't know, go to YouTube, type in I Pet Goat 2, watch the 7-minute video. You will see this character about halfway through the film. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because this character just so happens to have a diamond ring on his skeletal finger. Now, I didn't know that this was going to all relate back to I Pet Goat. I was seeking truth. And I found that is the reason why Ebola was unleashed on West Africa. We had the Georgia Guidestones pointing to West Africa. We had the recent diamond discovery. We had the UN sanctions on West Africa to basically accusing them of not having control of their blood diamond industry This is all documented. And basically, Liberia being a slave state, a slave country, since their inception, okay? Basically, they were freed slaves, but they were sent there because the United States was afraid that they would revolt. And we had a precedence of that on one of the islands where they revolted and took over their slave masters. And so the founding fathers and people in the United States of America realized that the slaves were starting to outnumber the citizens of America, and that at any time, with their strength, they could have an uprising and take over. So they shipped them off to West Africa, and those were the origins of Liberia. That's where Liberia came from. So back to voodoo. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, where's it going, man? Where do you think this Ebola stuff's going then?
Well, here's what's going on. Baron Samedi is the voodoo representative figure. And where did voodoo originate? It didn't originate in Haiti, which is what most people think. It actually originated in West Africa. Okay? So we have a foreshadowed film showing West Africa, the diamonds on his finger, and possibly the foreshadowing of Ebola in that video.
Wow, that's heavy, man. So what do you think, though, with Ebola? Because like I said earlier, I mean, I'm really sitting back on this. I found my Walking Dead connection, which told me, if you will, spiritually, to kind of keep an eye on the subject, but not to get too crazy about it. You know, I mean, there's people out there that do other stuff on it, and that's cool, and I love seeing it, but I'm just not too attached yet. But do you really think that's going to be connected with the Georgia Guidestones as far as keeping the population under? They're going to really use Ebola as the thing? What are you thinking?
Well, I just watched a video today, and it's basically a foreshadowing of the population of the United States of America on this website. And I can't remember exactly where I saw it. I'm actually going to try to pull it up in my history here to see if I can just name it off for you real quick.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I wonder, is it Kafka Winston World? Did she do that?
I think so. Let's see here.
Maybe, I don't know, but she's the original uploader of the video where they took the cube out of Georgia Guidestones recently. And then from there, I really enjoyed Aaron from Police State Radio's take on that, his connection with kind of the symbolic nature of that whole ritual. I was right there with, and then I got you guys. I got you and everybody else doing stuff. So there's so much going on there, yeah?
Yeah, this was by Susan Duclos.
Okay, cool.
Government-sourced website proves end is near. And they project I think it's to 2025, they project the population of the United States reduced down to 69 million people. Okay?
Right.
Now, I don't know what this website's about. I don't know whether to believe it or not. My point is that they're completely capable of reducing the world population.
Totally.
It could be a fear thing. It could be Ebola. I don't know. The thing is 6 months ago, no one believed that Ebola would ever reach American shores. And now it's here. So you got to ask yourself, if you didn't believe that could happen, now it's here. Now we're getting cases here, there, and everywhere. We're getting quarantines. Why are all the caskets here? Why do we have 250,000 caskets? Why did they order bullets to kill every man, woman, and child, hollow tip point bullets that they say were used for target practice, but all of us know that you don't use hollow tip bullets for target practice?
Oh yeah, even the post office, man, they're armored up too. Yeah,
they're militarizing government groups that have no business being militarized. Like
well, let me ask you this, man. What do you think? Because there's that whole rapture kind of idea, and I think I've talked about this a bit in the past, but let's cover it again here just briefly. But I mean, are we going to be here for that, man? I mean, people wonder. Are we going to have to deal with that? I guess it's the first 3.5 years of the Antichrist reign. That's part of the idea. I mean, what's your idea on that whole philosophy?
I've come to the conclusion that it's completely possible, but I have so much faith in my God that if I have to suffer,
yep.
suffering will never be above and beyond what Christ had to suffer.
Agreed, man. You know what also rings to, again, I am definitely not the best with my scripture, and I've admitted that many times in the past. I'm working on it. I really am. So I have to paraphrase sometimes, but I know that kind of in those days, like when Jesus comes back, that people will still be getting married and working and living, and there's still going to be like regular life happening to some degree.
And I can tell you that marriage is a marriage between you, your wife, and the state. And the state is looking to destroy men. They're looking to destroy the family unit, but they're also looking to destroy men.
You're talking my language, because, I watch a lot of Maury throughout the day. No, but really, sometimes I see that stuff. But even beyond that, I never got married. I'm over 30. I'm a little over 30, let's say, and I never got married. Don't plan on it. No children, though I love children. I think children are great. But just kind of where I'm at in this world and kind of where I see the world heading, it's just kind of my decision. But, you never know what God's got planned for you. But, yeah, I'm right there with you. And I see a lot of my friends from childhood trapped in really bad marriages, both men and women. So I see that it could be not always awesome, but then I got my parents who've been married 37 years, and they're like still happy as could ever be. So, it's whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not the fault of the men or the women. It's the influence. It's the demonic influence that we have in today's society that destroys marriages. I try not to bag on, different, sex and things like that. It's not about that. It's about the influence that we're under, the influence that's attacking our children, the influence that's attacking our spouses. And it's almost impossible to live a normal, healthy life because everything's based on the material. You cannot live without being locked into this economic system,
Yeah, there's a war on love as well, I mean, I love Godlike Productions. It's one of the channels I go to all the time. In fact, between you and I and whoever listens, I'm working on a channel to rival it so I can have another place where people can come to and post things, but maybe get rid of some of the trolls. There's a lot of trolls over there. But we'll work on that. But outside of that, I want to throw this at you as well. Our old friend Paul Stobbs. Now, he's got a channel as well on YouTube. I really like Paul. He's been on here before on my channel. I've interviewed him. He actually interviewed me. Paul's got a question. I want to throw this out, too, and see what you think. We've got about 10 minutes or so here. He says, what do you guys think about the rising theme and rhetoric coming from politicians and the media that conspiracy theorists are, quote, terrorists? I've got a lot of thoughts on that, but what do you think about that?
Another attempt to label us, just like they tried to label us crazy. That didn't work, so now they're going to label us terrorists. But here's how we win, you guys. We win with the idea of love. Yeah, if you're out talking about revolution and I will pick up my gun, if they come to my door, I'm going to shoot somebody. Guess what? It's going to be real easy for them to label you a terrorist. But if you have complete faith that the Lord has your spirit in his hands, what can they do to you? What can they say? Oh,
I agree, dude. I agree 100%, Casey. Thank you. The same thing, It's like just operate on that level. We'll be okay, man. It's like no matter what comes our way, we'll be all right. But you're going to have to really have that relationship with God and really be tuned in to that spiritual side. And you'll hear everything you need to hear, and you have to just trust that God's got your best interest at heart. He's not going to lead you into bad things, yeah?
Think about the most dangerous people in history to the New World Order. Who have they assassinated? Who did they have to take down? Because this carries a large spiritual karma for them. They can't just kill whoever they want. Because guess what? That equals large negative karma for them. They only kill who they have to. And who are the people that they killed? The people that loved the most. Martin
yep.
JFK. All these figures who preached nonviolence. That should tell you something. That should tell everybody something. Yeah, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. I get that. But those people take care of their own karma because they're going to get killed, right? The people that they have to actually take out are the people that believe in love and try to promote love on this planet.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm glad you answered that. But yeah, same thing. And even back to Paul, I'll say this, that I personally had done a video a while back called The Illuminati Wrote a Book on Conspiracy Theorists. You can look that one up, and I've done some videos on how media kind of manipulates our minds into viewing a, quote, conspiracy theorist, which is really anybody that questions things. Then we get into Mel Gibson, who, between us, I'm working on another video which will be hopefully kind of epic, like over an hour in the next few months or so on Mel Gibson. There's a lot of things there with Mel Gibson. Wow. Things I think a lot of people haven't even seen yet. But that all goes back to that as well. He did a movie called Conspiracy Theory, I think, and you can look that one up and check that out. But yes, we've been conditioned. I mean, look at the movie with Woody Harrelson. It was 2012, I think it was called. He was the cuckoo, conspiracy theorist, had all the maps on his wall and figured all this stuff out. But at the end, he died, but he was right. And that's another thing we see is a lot of these kooks they show in media, movies, and TV that have the truth are always right. Everyone hates them, but they're right in the end, and they wind up dying some horrible death, which is also part of the psyop, I think.
Yeah, and I want to add to that in the last few moments. Gosh, man, we're on such similar spiritual levels. It's kind of creeping me out right now. But I just watched 3 different films. Fire in the Sky. I watched Gone Girl. And the themes of each of those was exactly what you just described. Someone being right, but everybody being against them. In Fire in the Sky, there were 6 loggers who, one of them was abducted by an alien, and they stuck by their story, and the whole community hated them. They condemned them. They wanted them killed, arrested, and death sentence. And then again in the movie Gone Girl with Ben Affleck, where his wife stages her murder and blames it on the husband to get back at him. And he has to fight, the tide, basically, to clear his name. And then in the end, they discover what had happened, that it was a hoax. And this spirit of what you just described is rampant right now, and it's kind of interesting that you brought that up because, like I said, we hadn't talked before this. So,
well, that's how it works, man, and this is why this. I always tell you this, and I know I freak people out on the show sometimes when I say I love you and stuff. I don't mean that like in a weird way, but just as a brother or sister or whatever. But I mean, we're connected, man, and and it's been a while since I had you on. That's why I'm really glad you were able to come back on because I've seen your work coming up a lot. You've been busy, even when I'm out doing my stuff outside of YouTube, I'm on my phone, looking at my subscription list, and you've been busy. But no, we're connected, and you know that, and we're brothers, and this is just the beginning of our friendship. I genuinely believe we'll have another one beyond this. Not to get too heavy, but you know that. And that's what it's all about, man. But, wow, yeah, so there we go, guys. I mean, we still got about just a few minutes left here, but, the time always goes by really fast here for me, and to me it's a good sign. I really enjoy doing this, and I'm glad you all out there seem to enjoy it as well. Tonight we're really lucky to have on 2 minds that really connected. This is just the beginning of their friendship too, I believe, guys. We're going to have future shows. I'm going to have these guys both on again. I'm going to have Casey back on again with our friend from earlier, Zachary Hubbard, because they're most certainly they're connected. Okay, and that was wonderful. Anything you want to leave the audience with, man? We got a couple minutes. Maybe tell people where they can find your work or anything.
Yeah, I mean, everyone likes their kind of favorite platform. So I'm on Twitter, enter the 5T4RZ. I'm also on Facebook, enter the 5T4RZ. You can find me there. And whatever you're most comfortable with, I check those. I encourage everyone to sub to my backup channel if you only knew on YouTube because, YouTube's getting a little unstable these days, and I just want to make sure I can reach all of you if my main channel gets shut down.
Good point. Yeah, guys, remember that. Same with me. I've done it as well. It's super important if you have a YouTube channel, especially one that's covering kind of controversial subjects like this. Make sure you got some backup. and all other kinds of plans, because you just never know. All you can do is just kind of pray on it and hope everything works out for the best. But it is what it is. I mean, I won't even get. We could talk. You and I could talk for another couple hours about our battles with YouTube. I've certainly had my share. I've lost almost 27 videos. I'd say it's 27 re-edited and lost over this last year alone. So they're hardcore. Anyway, man, Casey, once again, always great to have you on, man. Much appreciated. I'll talk to you again on the YouTube anyway, or outside of that. I'm going to have you on again soon. Would that be cool with you?
Absolutely, and thanks for having me on, KJ. I appreciate it.
For sure, man. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to the audience real quick. Guys, hey, once again, thanks for listening in to Read Reality Radio. We are your alternative to the alternative media. I hope you understand that. I'm trying to take a spiritual approach to some of this stuff as well, because ultimately that's where all of this stuff goes. GMOs, chemtrails, whatever you want to say, man. A common core. These are all just bricks in the pyramid, but we're looking at the top of the pyramid as well, guys. We've got to focus on that. It's a spiritual thing. This is, as I always say, God devil type stuff, okay? I know it sounds kind of funny, but it's true. So thanks again for checking me out. Thanks for listening to all of us. Check out these guys' channels. I'll be re-uploading this to my main channel, The Scariest Movie Ever, on YouTube. God bless you all. Take care. We'll talk to you next week.